Mr. Perry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I want to begin by giving credit where credit is due. I want to thank you for visiting South Central Pennsylvania and providing some attention to that. And of course, you're probably aware, as you probably are likely crossed the South Bridge across the Susquehanna River. We've got a big construction project there, bipartisan support, and would just encourage your continued attention and support of that. I want to turn to the electric vehicle market. As you can imagine, seems to me that the industry is in a bit of a tailspin, and the government-funded EV bubble appears to be deflating, even though that we're subsidizing it at tune of billions of dollars. The fact of the matter is 98% of all the cars on the road today are traditionally powered. 97% of the annual car purchases are traditionally powered. I know you're likely to talk about the 7% share of new car sales being EVs, but the truth of the matter is that it belies the fact that 3/4 of those car sales are used vehicles, which aren't EVs, and the cost of those grows every single day as EV costs go higher, driving the cost of traditional vehicle sales higher. The Energy Information Administration has found that the U.S. share of electric vehicles dropped in Q1 of 2024, and the context is tens of billions of dollars being showered down on the industry, and still this is happening. We're literally paying folks to produce the cars, sell the cars, and buy the cars, but the consumer sentiment continues to be moving away. Now, according to McKinsey & Company, your former employee, nearly half, 46% of electric vehicle owners are likely going back to traditional fuel vehicles. Consumer Report found EVs to be associated with 79% more problems than conventional vehicles. J.D. Power found customer satisfaction declining across the board, especially regarding level 2 charging, with roughly 20% of attempted charges ending without success. I can't imagine going to the gas station 20% of the time, leaving empty. Cox Automotive found that EV inventory nearly twice that of the overall market, and 3,500 car dealers, some of which visited me and I represent, sent a letter begging you and the administration to stop these mandates. Now, recognizing that attempts to bribe the industry and the public into EV adoption have literally failed at this point, continue mandating CAFE standards, EPA tailpipe standards that are de facto EV mandates. And ideological allies in 12 states are seeking to ban the sale of non-EV cars. Now, we can talk about the proper role of government. That'd be a great conversation, because I don't think that we have the authority or should have the authority to limit what consumers can buy in this regard, or what they can own. But clearly, Mr. Secretary, this isn't working. So I'm wondering, is there some point, and if you've identified some point where you will stop, where the administration will stop, where the federal government will stop this requirement and let the market decide, as opposed to this central planning model and this dictatorial policy?
Well, thank you. Given time is limited, I will confine myself to addressing the factually incorrect portions of what you have said, beginning with the assertion that EV sales are going down. They are, in fact, going up.
Does that include the government sales or private sales?
Every single year,
private sales
more
or government
Americans
sales,
have purchased
Mr. Secretary?
EVs. The entire market.
The government's forced to buy them, so sales are going up, but private sector...
There are private sales too, yeah.
I'd like those numbers.
Sure. 1.2 million EVs were sold in the U.S. in 2023.
How many government and how many private?
We'll get you that breakout, but as you know, more private citizens buy EVs than government purchases.
No, I don't.
Let me address the second
true.
factual mistake in your remarks, which was that EV costs are getting higher. They're in fact getting lower, and according to J.D. Power, have now reached parity or are slightly lower than the equivalent gas-powered car.
With or without subsidy?
Yeah, that does include the subsidy. That's right. But the point is, they are going lower.
But they're not, because we're all buying them.
Your statement that they are going up is incorrect. The third incorrect assertion you made is that sales dropped in Q1. They did not drop compared to Q1 of the previous year. Of course, if you compare them to Q4, they drop, because they always do, because car sales are seasonal. But I would imagine most people are aware of that. And
no,
fourth,
I'm talking about
I want to
particular
address the
EV, Q4 to Q1. EV, not just overall car sales.
Any car sales go down Q1 to Q4 because more people buy cars in Q4. But what I'm telling you is every single year, more Americans buy EVs than the year before. And the word tailspin is just a bizarre word to use for a growing sector of our economy. We also think that since that's the way that the market is headed, we should not allow China to build on the advantage that they developed during the Trump administration, not because they're environmentalists, but because they understand the economic power of trying to dominate the EV market. We want those EVs to be made in America, and increasingly they are.
I'm happy to have them made in America, Mr. Secretary. What I'm not happy about is the mandate. The American people should be able to buy
That brings me to the
any
fourth and
vehicle
final
that
thing
they
that
want to.
I need to
yield.
challenge as being factually inaccurate, which there is no mandate. You can purchase a gas car if you want to pay gas prices at the pump, but if you don't, you can purchase an EV with our help.
We're going to try to get one more question in, Mr. Cohen.